Sit this ass on you. Welcome back to Carmen's Kinky Nights. My name is Carmen. Thank you for allowing me to caress your thoughts. Today's episode will be all about pussy and penis pleasure. I have two guests today, Danny and Bambi, who will be joining us to explore pussy and penis pleasure. Danny and Bambi, introduce yourselves.
How you doing? I'm a I'm a former lawyer and living in Los Angeles. And I have a bachelor's degree in marketing.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm really into sex.
Oh, so am I. Well, thank you for being here. And how about you, Bambi?
Hi, my name is Bambi. I'm originally from Minnesota, but I now live in the Los Angeles area as well. And I do concierge and work full time for a car company.
Sounds good. So, ladies, I'm going to start off with the ladies. I'm here for my woman.
I'm gonna hold it down for us over here.
Bambi, first question. How do you like for a man to eat your pussy? What do you like? What do you like for a man to do? Like that gets you to that point where you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to orgasm.
I am personally clit stimulated.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it has to be more it's more of like the clitoris being stimulated than it is more than the penetration. So I feel like it's more like for me personally, like if you just get that feeling right, then the penetration is on like a 10 level, because like the intensity of the feeling rises 10 times more. So for me, it's definitely when you get that action going just right, then everything else is like on 10 for me.
I feel you. I'm the same way. Like I like when I'm, getting head. I love for a man to just suck on my clit. Like to me, that is like the best feeling. Like as long as you playing with my clit and you getting it right. I like it sloppy too. Like, like I
I'm a
like
little in between.
in
A little.
between.
I think I'm like in between, because I like the aspect that it is like wet now, but it has to be like not too overly wet, because I am a person that if there's too much condensation, because I produce my own condensation, it just is too much.
So Danny D, I'm gonna ask you a similar question. How do you like your dick sucked? Like what do you like, for women to do that turns you on?
I like when a woman is sucking my dick, but it's like she just couldn't wait. Like she couldn't wait to. There's no holding back. There's no thought about it. There's no part of the dick that she misses. The balls, everything. Like, yeah,
Ooh.
that's how you get your dick sucked. Because we all know from men and women, people can go down on you, but they might not really do it all the way. They might just do it for a couple 10 and they get back up. But it's like when somebody's down there and it's like they couldn't wait to get down there. Yeah, that's what turns me on. It's like the thought of knowing that we both nasty together. Like I ain't the only one. Okay, cool. That makes me know. So I think that's for me.
Are there certain things that you do to women, like that will make them come? Like, what are some of your tricks that you like to do to stimulate women?
I'm a talker
Oh.
at times. I'm a talker at times, but I think if it becomes a point to where it's multiple times, I'll learn. I could kind of start learning what is turning that person on.
Yeah, learning the
And so
person.
for the next time, then I'll know to keep doing it.
But for you, Bambi, what do you like to do to make a man come? Something, that usually works for most guys. But do you have any tricks that you want to share?
I feel like for me personally, I don't know if it's just my dick. Like, you know how you have like people like, oh, you do something really great. So I do give good head. So I feel like always that becomes like, you know, the thing that overall thing that people are like, oh, your head is really amazing. And but I also feel like that's because I am a squirter, so I feel like that's just about the, I don't know. So that's the normal comment that I get back. The trick that I feel like I do is like I'm active with my tongue when giving oral. So I feel like that's something that a lot of guys like, you know, with you use your tongue and you go around like the shaft and the tip, and some guys are very sensitive at their tip, so you can't
Yes.
suck on it as much. Some guys aren't, so it just kind of depends.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely feel like every guy loves like when your tongue you know, is going around the whole thing, as well as, you know, like licking around the balls and just like sucking on the, not too heavy, but you know, just a nice, if you can get both. Sometimes you just can't get both in your mouth,
Yeah.
but you know, when if you can, then it's good. You know, just I think that in my scenario, that's something that every man appreciates. It makes, and you know, that is it's a changing moment in the moment.
Right. I agree. Like I love using the tongue along with sucking. I give head, I try to get it all in and then still use my tongue. And men seem to love that. And
Yes.
I love sucking on the balls too. I like,
Hmm.
you know, working my way down. And we all know, men get
Well, you know,
stimulated.
I was just about to bring that up. I was
Yeah,
gonna say I
okay.
don't know about every guy, but some guys, you
No,
know.
that's where they're stimulated. So I don't mind, because there are just certain things that go on. Men may not say, but there's
Right.
certain
Well, that's,
things.
you know, we know.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. I like to hit there, and I love sucking on a tip. Like you
Hmm.
said, men are sensitive there, but that's just a spot. Like some men are just like, oh my god, like.
And then when you're done, some guys really like that you continue. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
the over, I guess, because the intent, like, because it's really sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
That intensified feeling around their like, some some of them,
Yeah.
but some cannot.
Mm-hmm.
They was done, and they will, you know, they'll let you know real quick.
Right. And so I know you just talked about squirting a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that. Like your experience with that and what did a guy do to make that happen for you?
Okay, so my squirting story or journey is actually kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was in college when I
Mm-hmm.
realized that I had the, everyone can, but the ability.
Squirting
Um,
powers.
right. I feel that it was more. I will say though, I feel it was like in my head, and I will say
Mm,
I listened to Plies,
yeah.
and after
Ooh.
hearing like all his songs, and I was like, that's me.
Bust it, baby.
Yes, that was me. And he's just talking about all the squirt and changing the sheets and stuff, and I was like, that's me, that's me. Anyway, so long story short, I was with my boyfriend. I just finally moved into my apartment, and you know how like he finished moving. Well, we took a shower and stuff like that, but it was just like at the end of the day, just tired, exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
and literally it happened, and I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And and then the funny part of it all was it dried like a flower on my sheet. And like literally we took pictures of that shit because it was such like a magical moment.
Oh my God. That sounds
But
amazing. That sounds fucking amazing.
the first time's been amazing. There's been moments though that I feel like a lot of guys don't understand squirting.
Yes. My
So as a female, it makes you, especially in that moment, it
hmm
makes you feel a little uncomfortable because they're uncomfortable because of what has happened.
Right.
And or it can just completely change and shut down the whole mood, which has, you
Right.
know, has happened because of the, you can't control it. It's not like something I did on purpose.
Right.
Sometimes you just be in the moment, or it just be that you just hit
hmm
that right spot, and it just.
Happens. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I didn't know that I could squirt until I feel like the right guy did it or hit the spot for me.
Mhm.
And then I was just like, oh my God, what is this? Like this is a new world for me. Like I didn't
A whole new
never
level of
knew.
orgasm.
Yes, and that opened like a whole new door of sexuality for me. So Danny, tell me about, have you ever had an experience with making a woman squirt? If so, tell me.
I have, and it was just sometimes the squirting is unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
You don't expect it. Sometimes it's a lot that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So I have had those experiences. I mean,
What did you do to make it happen? Is there anything you feel like you did different?
I think probably the intimacy was on a good level, and I think we were just pumping and going, and
Oh.
if you get a good enough pumps in, intimacy is right, and the mind is on the same level. You just never know. You hit that spot like the jackpot, and all the chains come out.
Mm-hmm. Danny, have you ever used sex toys during sex for your woman?
Absolutely.
Sweet. Have you seen a difference in having sex in general? Like, do you feel like she likes it more or she would prefer with...
Some women do. Some women don't. Some women do. Some women don't. I've seen some women that prefer to have extra toys, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes. I mean, for me, I like to have fun, so I like people that are open minded. So if you have toys, I'm like, okay, cool. Like we can. These are all the porno scenes I seen growing up. Now I can actually like relive them.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, and then you got some people that's just like, let's just have sex. Let's not do too much. And it's like, okay, so you got like both. You got both for real.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me, I prefer like if my woman, I've seen different things, but like if a woman wants to use a toy in bed with us, let's have some fun.
Okay. How about you, Bambi? Do you prefer sex toys while having sex?
Yes. Yes, I do. Only because I am like clit stimulated.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it easier for the guy to focus on penetrating. The toy can take care of that, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
He can take care of the clit, and the toy can take care of that.
I'll agree with you 100%. So I love the sex toys that while the guy is inside of you, I like the one that can actually clip on your clitoris and then it vibrates as well while like stroking you.
Wait. Back up. It clips on.
Yeah, so like while he's inside of you, you can
Uh
put
huh.
it, it's kind of like a shape of a U a little bit, and then you can clip it
Oh.
on your clit, like clip it inside, like literally like a clip.
Yeah.
And then like while he's stroking you, oh my gosh, I think you will love it if like you're stimulated by your clit.
Will that be one of the toys that you're releasing?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I cannot wait to purchase.
Yes. And
I have not seen that before.
yes.
Currently my toy selection, I prefer
Mhm.
vibrators over just like standard or traditional dildos or anything.
Mhm.
But I also the vibration, but I actually prefer more of, again, the clitoris stimulated one. So I've learned a little bit more about those different toys. I have bought one towards the end of last year.
Mhm.
I don't remember what kind it was, but it kind of pumps air
Mm. Wow.
onto, so it's kind of like a circle, and then you place it on it's a handle, but like at the tip is like a little circle,
Mhm.
and then you place that on your your clip, and that's like my favorite, because ultimately what I realized, like growing up, I never used the vibrators to like penetrate.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that was just because I learned how to please myself via my clitoris
Mhm.
instead of penetration.
Mhm.
So I just realized, like, now, even growing up, that just feels so much better to me than just, it has to be a combination. I can never just do penetration.
Right. Right. I absolutely agree. And I love that sex toy that's like it clips on your clitoris. You can like
Uh-huh.
buy some that gets warm. Like so it'll
What?
vibrate and it'll be warm. And so it's like giving you heat while he's stroking it. Oh my God. I like absolutely the best thing like ever.
I need one. I need one of them in my
Right,
life.
right. Because men, it's easy for them to orgasm. And I'm the same as you. Like, I need to be stimulated there. So I love switching positions and doing everything, but if it's not gonna make me orgasm, then I'll just be there. Like, I'll be enjoying it because I enjoy sex as a whole. I
Yeah.
still want to feel like that constant stimulation. And, sometimes when like you're rubbing on your clit, some guys, they're like, what? Have you ever had that? Like,
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing is like, because I'm more clit stimulated, some people, that's different. Like, those guys don't know
right,
that. So, like, what you're doing, they're like, what are you doing? And it's like,
right,
um,
right. Danny,
or they just avoid the whole clitoris during the
right,
moment. And unfortunately, they may come.
right.
And yes, I tried to enjoy the moment. I was in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, but it wasn't necessarily the same come or
Mm-hmm.
release that he may
Right.
experience, because like that's the other thing is like I did learn there's different types of like releases, via the clit, via the penetration, or and even in the aspect of when we squirt, it's different levels of like I feel of moments.
Right. Danny, have you ever felt like you weren't doing a good enough job because the girl was rubbing on her clit? Like, have you ever felt like, why are you doing that? I'm all the man you need. Like, have you ever, how do you feel about that when women try to stop you?
Yeah, I did at times, sometimes, because I've had sex and a woman will come without all of that. So you'd be like, well, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you also, I mean, knowing that women come clitoral like in different ways, and knowing it's not just like a penis and you can stroke it in many ways and she still don't come, and then it's like she'll rub her clit and come, then I start to kind of have an understanding. It's like it's different for different women. That's just really what it is. So if I'm having sex and she wants to play with her clit, like I personally don't feel like I have a small penis, so I'm like, all right, it ain't the penis size. I'm like, all right, well, I've tried to stroke it different ways, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe we're not intimately there mentally. Like, it's different things I can think of on my own self too that makes you think that, because it's like if you're hitting it good, does she need to rub the clit? That's what I be thinking sometimes. But I don't know from a women's standpoint. Some women rub it anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it has to be like I think it all depends on who the woman is. Like if you don't know her and you hitting it and she rub her clit, you probably just like, oh, you know what? Let her come, and that's that. But if it's somebody you're dating and she always has to rub her clit, I don't know. I've had that happen too. So um, I don't know. It's an interesting one. That's an interesting question from a man's standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So I think different men gonna give different answers. But most of the time, like you say, every man, I'm sure you've heard it. Like men have said, like, "Oh, you're getting this dick. What's wrong?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can obviously tell it's more than that. I'm a mental person when it comes to sex. Like, I want to be mentally stimulated with you. So I'm sure that woman's probably the same way.
Mentally stimulated as in talking.
Talking, knowing there's certain things you can do to know, like I was told, like a woman's like if a woman there was a person in this like they prefer to know that you care about them and they get more turned on
Mm-hmm.
to know that you're like genuinely not just fucking them. Like
Right.
it's different things and different things in different sex. There's so many different types of
Right.
sex. So you just have to feel it. I think sex for me is a feeling now as I'm
Right.
getting older. So yeah, yeah. If she's rubbing her clit, just rub that thing, baby. We're gonna get it out.
Yes, I definitely.
We all got one common goal, and I'll wait
Yes,
for you.
I
That's the goal.
definitely agree with that. I think what
Men should wait though. I will say
yeah.
that. If she rubbing the clit, then you for sure gotta wait.
Right.
That you can't come. Yeah, you can't let her rub the clit. Then you come and it's like, oh damn, you really.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. I was
that's
just gonna
that.
ask you that. Do you wait, or do you think it's okay to orgasm before the woman? I was
Mm-mm.
gonna ask you that.
If it's my woman and that's yeah, but like when we get together and I know I'm
Hmm.
good, but not if I know she can get up, put her clothes on, and be like, this
Yeah.
nigga whack. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it
Right.
happens.
How do you feel about that, Bambi? Um, the man nutting before, or do you not care?
You know what? That's it.
Some girls be like,
What ass pussy, okay?
So I it's different in the aspect that they weren't anticipating you having that. Okay, so I have two different standpoints on this because I do understand, like, and I think you're gonna agree or kind of side with me, like, when a man does encounter some WAP, that's never have, he is going to come a little faster, and that's understandable. It's they haven't experienced the warmth, the wetness, the everything that moment or that quote unquote definition describes. However, there are some people that I have encountered in my life that they were just worried about their nut and no. Or if you do, I respect the man more if you still play with me to make sure that I'm satisfied. I don't like when a guy gets his and then is like,
leaves you hanging.
like the stuff's over. Right. And it's like, wait. I was like, I didn't.
Like, that's selfish.
Right. So I definitely do not care for that. But I guess then I wanted to kind of present a question because I have dated. I was in a relationship and I just felt that I wasn't being sexually satisfied. And it wasn't that they were purposely coming early, because sometimes I would, come and so forth. But it was just like I felt that more so than every time. I want, of course we expect sex to be great every time. And I guess as we do age, we realize that ain't gonna happen every time.
Right.
But how do you have that conversation with someone to tell them that they're not like a man? And maybe this is like a Danny question, like to tell them that we're not satisfied, but because I'm down to work. There's things we can do, and I'm definitely a problem solver type of girl. So it's like, how do you approach a man to tell him that he's
because men
not fully satisfied?
It's really hard, and especially if somebody is in their habits and or like they're just used to the women not saying anything, then it's just really hard because they've been thinking, oh, other women haven't had any issues with me, I must be fine. Like, no, sir. And in the beginning, you might be like, okay, maybe once or twice it may change, and then you just gotta.
Yeah, because I've tried. You it's gonna get better. It's the first time. It was brand new. It was the WAP that made it happen quickly. Okay, second time. It was only the second time, but then it's like the third time. I'm still not satisfied. But I mean, in this relationship, I kept. It was like. It kept going, but it was just like after a while, it was just like, well, how do I? Because at the same time, I definitely knew that I didn't want what I said to sound like they weren't adequate enough, because it wasn't that. I just feel that sometimes it takes. I was hoping that he wasn't gonna get mad about it, but they definitely got mad. They felt offended. It was like I literally told them that they had a small dick, and it was like it wasn't even the size type of thing. It was just I personally wasn't I wasn't squirting. I wasn't feeling satisfied, quote unquote.
See, I've had that experience, and my methods have changed over time. So in the beginning, like when I first started having sex, I would just I wouldn't really care. Like, I wouldn't tell them. I just be like, whatever, and then I just not have sex with them. But then when you actually like somebody, then like I have to tell them, especially if I'm compatible with them in many other aspects, then I feel like, okay, you know what? So this is this, I connect with you in other levels, so I want to connect with you sexually. But honestly, if they can't listen to that, I don't know. I don't know if I could keep coming home to it every day. It's gonna constantly.
Well, that was it. Was
and then I'm gonna cheat on you because I want some good dick somewhere else. Is that bad? Because I'm gonna,
Nope, that's literally that's why Danny. Danny, can
men
you
do.
tell
Yes,
us?
Danny, have you ever had that experience? Where you weren't sexually satisfied, and you know, had to tell the girl, nah, this ain't it. It's harder to tell women though,
Yeah,
but I
like
mean,
definitely not a
uh,
continuation. Like this won't be
okay,
happening again for sure. Yeah, like in your head, if it wasn't good or like she's shy, you like, this damn near is. I need consent. I don't want to have consent. If I had to have consent, it's hidden in front of the
yeah,
back. Okay,
that's okay. I feel you. So that's been the only instance, like where she's shy, or
is
she's just
no. I've had sex where she's shy. I've had times where the woman's like, even if you're a talker, like she's just quiet.
yeah.
Like I don't know. It's different things. It's different things usually those, but I haven't had like horrible experiences. I've had, I think, one experience where the girl's like, think maybe we should stop, and then she pulled her pants up, and I was like fully
Really?
hard and condom on inside, and she just stopped me cold turkey. But other than that, I've had a situation. I have a random situation that I've had
Yeah.
to.
Let's hear it. Or
Okay,
worst sex you've
okay.
ever.
It wasn't even sex. It didn't even get there.
Why?
So I don't know if this
Why?
technically counts. Because I was in college and I was in the dorm and I was a freshman. I don't even know if I should talk about this, but I was in college. You know what I'm saying? I lived in Tallahassee, so nobody knows about
Okay.
women down there.
Southern boy.
So as
Okay.
I was in Tallahassee, I was in college. So, the girl came over because we're not supposed to have people in the dorm. It's a
Mm.
co-ed. It's not a co-ed. So I made her dress up like a little boy. I put her some basketball shorts on mine. I told her to wrap her hair up, put on one of my baseball hats and a hoodie and some sneakers. I said, just walk in and go upstairs. Just say, what up? What up? Just do that to everybody. Just go upstairs. She got in, right? So I'm like, cool. I done got her upstairs to the room, all that. Now, we get into this little phase where, she
Mm-hmm.
needs a
Ooh.
massage.
Okay.
That's understandable. So I'm massaging and I'm doing what I do, but I'm smelling this ordained ministered
Oh.
smell, and I couldn't really.
Like holy water?
Oh.
No, more like sewage water,
Okay.
more like that type of vibe. So
Oh,
for
it's the
me,
sewage.
as a man, I don't care how much. Let's just say this: I don't care what type of
Mm.
wop I'm getting or how much wop I'm
Ooh.
getting.
That wouldn't be considered a lot, but okay.
But I'm like, let me be respectful because this is a
Right.
person, this is a friend, this is whatever it is. So I said, I'm not gonna just
Mm-hmm.
assume it's her. So
Mm.
I did my
Your
test,
test.
and
And
you know, I smelled around and so as I did my test, I came to the conclusion this is not the type of WAP that I want, right? So without her knowing that I
mm-hmm.
know, I had a phone call, a fake phone call, and I picked up my phone
Mm-hmm.
and just picked it up. And I was like, hello, hello. And I just placed around the room for about probably for a good 10 seconds. And she was like, everything okay? I was like, no, they're doing room checks. She was like, for real? I was like, yeah. I'm so mad about it. So she gets fully dressed, ass out, naked, ready for the penis, the dick, all that. It's about to go down. And I had her put her clothes on. She had my room smelling
Oh
like the
Lord.
Funkadelics.
Okay.
So I don't know if that counts as not
That's
having some good WAP,
definitely a horror story.
but that's the WAP I didn't
Oh,
experience that I wanted.
because the
So
Didn't like. Do you think it was gonna satisfy you when you did?
with her, I
Not her, but
I would have loved it. At the time, like her energy was everything.
wow.
It was like I just knew, but it's just when you know the scent is so strong, you can't listen to me. If you're a woman, and I don't know,
Mm.
depending on your preference, but if your man smell like horseradish, you're probably gonna be like, you know what? Let me wait on these balls. Let me these balls smell
Yeah,
like 9-year-old
I'm
bacon.
definitely not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, gonna have to.
You're not gonna want to go down on that. So for me, I had to make an executive decision for my tongue and and do what's best for us both
Mm.
and get up out of there. So I don't know if every guy's experience. I know some guys gonna say he had sex with a girl and she was whack, but that was my experience with
Oh my
some bad WAP.
God. Wow.
So I hope she never hears this.
That's...
So if you're living in Tallahassee, yeah.
How about you,
It was you.
Bambi? Any horror stories, worst sex you've ever had? Well, maybe from the guy whose dick wasn't big enough or he didn't know how to work it.
I mean, it's more embarrassing than horror stories. So let me know. I feel like for me, I haven't had any horror stories. I definitely feel like in my life, I've had more people that I thought that would not have been the experience that I thought I would have had with them. Like good experiences. So, like you
Yeah.
go on, like, you be shooing people on, like, I ain't talking to you right now. I ain't trying to talk to you. And it may be, 6 months, maybe a year later, 2 years later, whatever. The moment may happen, and you like, I did not expect that would, like, I had more of those moments. I will say I haven't had that many bad moments in my sexual activity. I have had one night. I have had quite a few of those.
One night.
I have had those. Yes, I have had those. And I think the most weirdest thing about like one-nighters is just like, not that now, mind you, I've never went into a situation like, oh, this is a one-night thing. That's not my brain thing, which I know some people that is their brain thought. Like, I'm gonna hit it and quit it. Not really my brain thought. But it's funny, just the situations that have happened. Like, okay, one story, which it didn't become it's not a bad story per se. However, I don't remember, we didn't have, like, there wasn't any intercourse or anything while I was drunk, but it happened the next day. But still, the funny story from that was just like, how did you get here? I did not remember. But it was all good. I was sober when we actually did have sex. But it's the funny part of it was that person then became a part. So they were in the industry and then were now involved in my work business like a month later. And so it was just more the point of that person then, because of my position, found me as, it was always a conflict. Anything I said, like awkward. Anything, it was, and it wasn't like being around them awkward. It was just like, oh, let's say I say that we should do a green room. They'd be like, let's do a purple room. And I just felt like everything was like like it just felt all attached to that, because some stuff just didn't make sense for them to argue it. It's like, really? Like, and so I feel that that moment was more of the awkwardness, because it was just like, I feel like you're just doing this. And because this was like the stuff that was being argued, it was like a whole project that we had to work together for. And like, it was like 3 projects we had to do. And it was just like, everything was always, it kind of eased up after the first one, because I was just like, you know what? We're not about to keep going down this road. Let's get our work done and be done. Like, I'm not about to keep butting heads with you on every 5 things. So that was kind of I feel like the most awkward thing, because what we never realized is that you never, like, the world is just small. Yes, you think it's big, but
small.
It's smaller than you think. And that moment was originally meant to be a person that I never would have saw again. Like, I was like, okay, it happened, it was done. They weren't even like, they just were literally like a passerby in the moment.
Do you think it's because he wanted to do it again?
I don't know. You know what, Queen? I don't know. And that could be part of it. I think that's one thing that a lot, like, as a woman, I'm not intuitive of. Even my little sister had to tell me, like, he's trying to talk to you. And I was like, who?
Wow.
Like, and that's probably just me as a person. That's me personally, but you know, I don't know.
Right.
That could have been it though.
Interesting. So I
Yeah.
do have a question for you, Danny. And this is something I kind of always wondered about men. So why do men ask, "Oh, where do you want it, baby?" Like when you're about to orgasm, like why do you like what do you
Because we want
oh,
to know how
ooh,
dirty you
what
are.
do you mean by that? Like
Do you want it in your eyeball? Do you want it in the back of your throat? You want it on? If some girls be like, if some girl be like, I don't care. It's gonna turn to like vibe of it off. She be like, on my face, on my face. You like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I like. Like it's a intensity.
I fucked up so many
It's an intensity. Yeah. So even if you don't want the guy to come in your mouth or on your face, be like, put it all over my body, baby. Even if you don't want it, because that's just gonna help. He's about to come usually. So if you be like, it's like, oh shit. Now I got to think of where I
mhm,
saw the porn star put it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't want to put your man in a mind of space to think of another woman that would do some shit he's already thinking about in his head. Like when he now,
mhm,
if he's asking where you want him to put it, he's probably genuinely just asking. But if you, like I said, if you just like, you better go in the bathroom and do it. Like you're like, what the hell? So I think if she's like, put it on my ass or put it on my, I don't know, it just gives it
okay.
intensity, in
What do
my
you
opinion.
think about that?
Just like if you were squirting and I was like, come on, squirt all over my balls. They wouldn't want you to
Oh,
squirt. Maybe
maybe
you want to
if it's
squirt
in the
more.
moment, I guess.
That's how. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
if it's in the moment
Bambi,
thing
what do
too.
you feel about that? Like when men ask you, "Oh, can you swallow my cum?" or "Where do you want it? Where do you want me to come?" How do you feel about that? And do you mind?
But no, okay, so there's some
Mm-hmm.
people that I am trying to impress, that I am like, anywhere but my face.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's probably not the best response. However, I just am a person that
Mm-hmm.
is not about my face. Unless like I'm in a committed relationship
Right.
or
Right.
like that's my man. Now my husband, my man, he can. There's some things I probably ain't even
Mm-hmm.
done yet that he probably is gonna be able to do, but
Right.
no, I don't like it. For me, I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
just pick a place, because like we're honestly in the same
Mm-hmm.
moment. I'm in that same space too. Like if we're both
Right.
really sexually compatible, I'm about to come too. So for me to figure out a place for
Mm-hmm.
you to put your cum while I'm trying to come is
But
hard.
what if it makes you come, the woman come harder to know he's about to come in her mouth? Like, what if it turns a woman on
I
and she's
don't
so?
mind
Right.
people. I mean, if I already put your dick
Right.
in my mouth, I don't mind if you
Mm-hmm.
come in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you
Yeah,
should have
sure.
to
I
ask me.
agree.
I think I always feel like when men ask me
Mm-hmm.
that, they want to come on my face. That's what I feel like. I don't, cause like my
Right.
stomach, I don't care. My titties, I don't care. You're obviously trying to ask me, can I
Mm-hmm.
come on your face? That's what I feel like.
Mm.
And I just, for me, I want to be with my boy, like the boyfriend at that time, or my husband. Otherwise, ain't nobody else about to come on my face unless you
So
wanted
I
it.
definitely agree with that. Like I don't mind, my man coming in my mouth. But it's so interesting. I remember when Amber Rose was doing like her whole slut walk thing, she was, talking about how men, the guys that she's giving head to, and they've come in her mouth. Instead, she would be like, "All right, daddy, just come on my face." And so they didn't have to, come in her mouth. She'd be like, "Oh, just come on my face," and make it seem.
But why? I feel
Yeah.
like that's worse. I just really, and maybe I should ask
Yes.
Carmen. Maybe I should ask you this. Like, do you? I don't. I feel like coming, and this is maybe how I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's more degrading
Yeah.
than you coming in my mouth.
I prefer in the mouth because I feel like I can make it a little bit more nastier, but yeah, that is kind of like what do they call like a masochistic
Mascul,
like
emasculating, emasculating.
masochism, like kind of dirty,
Oh,
kinky,
okay,
yes,
okay.
kind of degrading, like sadomasochistic, like kind of
Yeah.
like really kind of dirty thing.
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
Um,
yes.
Yeah, but I definitely prefer in my mouth because, like I said, I could make it like give the man like the illusion, like to kind of stroke his ego, no pun intended, like make it look.
Well, and honestly, I feel like at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
like I have the choice. If I go spit it out, you know
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fucking with you like that. Or I'm sexy
Right.
and you hear a big gulp. And then I tell you that
Have you
tasted
ever had a man
amazing.
like pee a little?
Right? Well, you know
I've
what?
had
Let
sex
me
so
not
good.
sit there and say I
I've
don't
had
know,
sex so
girl.
good I wanted to pee all over the
like
room.
like
But I don't even know how to coexist
let
it.
out a
It's just
little
like you just
pee?
want to come and pee. You just want to just
Well,
pee.
that's normally how you feel when women squirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you feel like you gotta pee a little
Yeah,
bit, but
like
it's like
with
not pee.
women.
It's just a whole nother.
Would you ever?
Danny, have you ever?
Sorry about that. It's all right. They
Danny.
do that all the time.
Danny, have you ever had a woman pee a little bit? Like I know some men they like that it's like warm. Like
I've had a
really?
woman want to get peed on her
Really?
booty. She likes
Why?
pee on her
Did you ever
booty.
ask her why?
I don't know. She said because it's warm and it splashes. I was like, it just smells like a toddler's room after that.
Does she have like a pre-laid like
Yeah.
white sheet?
It smelled
Like
like a 4-year-old.
what is the setup for that though? Like I feel like you have to
If I
have
know
like
you're a
bed
squirter, if I know
protectors.
you're a squirter, I'm automatically having. No, I actually take that back. I've had someone squirt through the towel. The towel didn't even do enough.
Well, yeah.
So, I think you need like a parachute for what y'all be
Mm.
presenting.
You tried it.
Uh, yeah.
You know what, my queen? You should make squirter little cloths so men have
Right.
things to put on their
Right.
beds for women that squirt. So that we don't feel bad for enjoying the
Right.
pleasures of their dick and them belittling us afterwards
Right.
because
I
we
know.
squirted
I'm
everywhere.
definitely gonna write that idea down because we shouldn't feel bad about making them feel good. We're the reason they're even feeling good in the first place.
But not even just for them. Shit, I don't want to clean this shit up out of my bed later either.
Mhm.
I understand.
So I have another question for you, for both of you. We'll start with Danny. Have you ever had sex with a sex worker, stripper, porn star? And if so, how was the sex? Oh, yes.
Yes,
What were they?
yes. I dated a stripper, but I didn't know she was a stripper because I met her on Twitter. But I found out like at night when she came home with a
Mm.
bag of ones. So, but she was like she had great sex. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had sex with a porn star person, and it wasn't like. I think I watched maybe way too many of their videos because when I met them, it was just not like it was a good experience, but it
Okay.
wasn't like I thought it would be.
How
So that's an interesting one too.
how
I think
so?
like it depends on the. I think it depends on the person, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this facade that you have with this person isn't always going to be the
Mm-hmm.
connection you have when you meet them. So no, it's interesting. My experience was very
Interesting.
interesting.
How about you, Bambi? Have you ever had sex with a sex worker, porn star, stripper?
Mm,
Mm. And how was that? Was
one.
it?
But what's considered a sex? So is OnlyFans
Yeah,
considered?
Like
essentially.
Backpage,
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist. That time period.
No, none of those. Definitely none of those. I've known people that dabble
Mm-hmm.
in, I guess you could say, prostitution. I wouldn't say that they were at the level of like walking a
Mm-hmm.
street or anything like that, but I feel like at the end of the day, in this day and age, there are people that are open to accepting, not that I paid them, but they accept cash from people
Right.
because of their ability.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those situations. And we weren't like in a relationship or anything. It was just we were actually kind of good friends, and so they would do different like porn things, or more so just had quote unquote clients
Okay.
that they would hang out with. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
more of an
Yeah,
escort. Is that
that would
there? You
definitely
go.
um count as a sex worker.
Sometimes the experience is not the same though, because they're so used to getting paid. They're just like in it for that time period. And then sometimes you connect with somebody that's really different from what
Right.
they're used to. So
Absolutely. I was having a talk with a friend, and because I've never done so, but I mean, I guess if the connection was nice, I wouldn't mind. And she was saying it was really good. Like she really enjoyed it, but I would just assume that it was because of their connection that they had. I mean, she didn't say it was like anything like super special or he was doing like crazy tricks or anything, which is kind of like Danny, you were saying, like the facade, like you thinking they would be doing some wild ass shit, and then you're like, oh well, this is normal. Like
yeah.
this isn't
The one thing you do know about having dealing with a porn star is probably the freedom
right.
that you about to go into it with. You could pull out like ropes
Mm-hmm.
and chains and it's gonna be all
So
good.
I have another question. I'll start with you, Bambi. So set up the perfect night with a perfect orgasm. Absolutely perfect. The whole night from, the beginning of when they pick you up or you pick them up, all the way into the end where you laid out because y'all don't fuck the shit out of each other.
Okay.
Or a perfect
Night
night
for
you've
a
already
perfect
had and it
orgasm.
was just absolutely perfect with squirting and everything.
I'm gonna go with the perfect night to get the perfect orgasm because I just feel like, in life, you can always get a good orgasm. You don't even have to be perfect. That moment will just do itself. But to set it up, if you want to set it up for me, it starts off with a decent meal, nothing too heavy. Okay, we'll go to the pickup. So first off, it starts off with me with setting the date. So that we have a plan. We know where we're going. So everything's super easy from me picking out my outfit. If you're going to Buffalo Wild Wings, you're gonna wear, something chill. If you're going to, let's say, what's more of an expensive restaurant like Kobe, you're gonna dress up a little bit more. So just knowing where you're going, because I'm a girl that needs to know. So knowing that just makes my night easy and more refreshing. But then picking me up, is always a better thing than me driving because then you've now captured me, low key. When I drive myself, then I'm responsible for my car at the end of the night.
Right.
Even if I want to hang out with you, I still got to make sure my car is good. So I'm more worried about, is my car gonna get towed? Where my car? Can I drive my car? I gotta drive my car. So picking me up, in the car, playing some decent, something that's kind of trendy, but in the same, space of how you want to set the mood, or play your favorite music, because that's a great way to let me know about you. So then hear your little playlist, what you like to vibe to. Then we get to the place, having food. For me, definitely ordering drinks first. I like drinks, so maybe a couple shots, drink our food, or maybe just a drink, eat our food or whatever. We make, depending on how good conversation. I'm definitely people that I have good conversation or connections with turn me on more. I mean, again, at the end of the day, a sexy man is definitely going to turn a woman on. But for me, I need a little bit of brains, and I'm mentally stimulated. There you go. So if I can have a good conversation with you, I'm more likely to have sex with you at the end of the night than I am with someone that I can't have any combo with. So if we can get that going, then by the end of the dinner, we're pretty good. Because if we had a good conversation, you were there for at least almost 2 hours. From sitting down to the food coming, conversation, eating over food. That's like a good 2 hours. So now we've been together for about I would say about 3 hours most likely, because I was a little late getting ready to get out the door. So you had to sit and wait on me. So even better if we go to something afterwards. That is, I love a guy that has a surprise at the end of the night. Like, oh, I want to go show you something, or my friend hit me up and said this is going on. Do you want to, go there? And then just I like a guy that takes control at the end of the night. So it's like, hey, I'm ready to go home. Do you want me to take you back to your place, or if he takes you back to my place? Just making those assertive moves that lets me know distinctly that you're interested. And when I know those things, then that just normally leads down the path of like a greatness. Because then it's like, oh yeah, I already know we coming up. Okay, let's go hang out. We're gonna put on some music, and no, I can't listen to rap music, but I mean, there's a couple rap songs that are R&B vibes, but no, we need R&B or yes. Once then we good. That's my perfect date setup.
Well, okay.
To get to the why.
How about you, Danny? Danny D. What is your perfect setup night for your perfect orgasm? Or how do you make that happen for the woman? Or do you expect the woman to make that happen for you? Or it goes both ways?
It can happen both ways. You can plan it different ways, but I think the ultimate goal, like whatever you're doing before that, fun, having fun, dinner dates, whatever you're doing before that, I think like she said, the biggest thing is good conversation, because you can spend like some time with each other and it's the vibe is just whack, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to go home and get no wop. You want to do something else because she's not. So if the conversation is right on the day and everything like that, I think it's also going to just lead to a amazing night. Um, and I think the perfect night to the perfect orgasm is if the night went well and y'all got home together, and whether y'all choose to go smoke together or drink together or just y'all had a good night. I think that is the ultimate part right there to get to the perfect orgasm. So if you had a perfect date, you could easily just have sex and just let that be. But if you go to dinner and really treat that person, like my preferred preference is I'd rather treat you correctly, and then we have conversation.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with both of you. Planning a nice date and time. I would love for my man to pick me up. Like you said, I got to worry about what my car is gonna be. Like Bambi said, and then a nice vibe, a nice event. I definitely want there to be that sexual chemistry. Feeling his energy.
Bring you home.
Right. I definitely need for there to be drinks, having that conversation to where you feel like you're just in another world with the person. And then, I love feeling when I'm out in public with with the person I'm on a date with or I'm dating. Like I love feeling like, oh, I could fuck you right now. Like you could get it like right now. Like I can barely keep my hands
And it'll
off.
be the moment you probably just lit and looking into each other's eyes.
Right. Like I love that really intense, passionate feeling. And even if I'm not in love with them yet, I just love a really strong.
You ever feel like it's usually like that when it's people you first meet and then you know them after a while and then that fire just goes
Absolutely. Yes.
like that sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
You be like, oh, I want to fuck you, and then like a year later you hate the person. It's crazy.
Yes, I've had that happen too, but it's great when it doesn't go away. And you know, then we make it back to the place, and I love foreplay. Like, I love being able to feel his dick get hard, like while he has his clothes on. Like, I want to keep my clothes on for a minute before we actually get to it. I love kissing, of course, sloppily, like really sloppy, spitting, and then setting the mood with the music, and
Mm-hmm.
then just slowly taking our clothes off, get into it. I'd love if it's his place, we probably won't have us if I'm planning it good. I might, and I've already, been with him or something. I might keep a sex toy over his house if he's like my recurring, you know, or if we're at my place, then I'll have sex toys that we can use. but I definitely want it to be like really intense and passionate, and where I'm gonna get that orgasm to where I can squirt, and we can do some rounds maybe. Like I definitely want it to be like, and sometimes I like spontaneity. Like I like it to be spontaneous, but that would be like the perfect date night, the perfect orgasm for me. Um, yeah,
Like
I'm all
that.
about like the passion, intense, and I want I love when I see a man like, you let your girl nut first, and then you come back in, because every man knows, as long as the woman is good, she's gonna, her pussy's gonna be tighter for you. Like you get her there, she gonna get you there. Like, and so you know, I love foreplay and then get into it. Perfect orgasm. We good. Gonna ask you to one more thing to leave our audience off with. So since this episode was all about pussy penis pleasure, do you have one tip for our audience to keep the man and the woman satisfied? So Bambi, do you have a tip that you can say for women, to let men know, like, this is something you need to know to keep me satisfied?
One thing you can do to keep a man satisfied is to always be stylish when going to
Okay,
bed.
that sounds nice. And how about you, Danny?
It doesn't have to be with lingerie necessarily, but just give it a little thought. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And how about you, Danny D?
Listen.
Oh, listen,
Listen.
literally.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Okay.
You're
Right,
right
we both are shocked.
explicitly. Yes, listen, that's
That's that.
definitely a big key, because a lot of men don't listen. They don't
Yeah.
listen to what their
Yeah.
men to what their
Shit
women.
work in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
sex, and marriage. Listen,
Absolutely.
hearing, understanding. That makes a person turn on because you're like, you listened to me. You actually heard that something I asked you to do or didn't like, and you changed this, or you're trying. Like that makes a person turned on too. In my
Absolutely.
opinion.
I want to thank Bambi and Danny for being my guests and talking all about pussy and penis pleasure. Thank you to the audience for tuning in. Be sure to check out Carmen's Kinky Nights on IG, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify at Carmen's Kisses. Also, check out all other episodes if you enjoyed having your thoughts caressed. Let me sit this ass on you.